be smart to be logical, right? That's just common sense, right? Logical or sensible. Like you're a sensible person. Like you, right? Like you're not just completely well tonight I have a lesson for logical folk. Now if you're illogical, it may tonight may struggle. You may struggle. But if you're just a logical person, I think it's gonna help you and make. And I come to you begging. I'm literally begging you, give me a chance. Is that all right? I'm throwing at your feet and saying, please, 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 give me a chance. Is that all right? Sound like James Brown. Please, please, please. There ain't no harm in begging. I know that's right. So tonight, if you're a note taker, and you like to chronicle your learning, tonight I want to talk up from the thought, the principle of sowing, sowing, the principle of sowing. Now remember, I came begging. I said, please, 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 just give me a chance. Is that all right? All right. So tonight we're going to talk about the principle of sowing. I want to start though first. Trustee Coley, have we given you a chance to get set up? We got the definitions? Okay. So I want to start off with, because in all thy getting, what should we get? Get understanding. So let me start with a definition for this thing called principle. A principle, P-R-I-N-C-P-L-E, not P-A-L. A principle is a fundamental truth, a general theory or law that spans a wide array of subjects. A principle applies to all. So a principle is something that is widely viewed as truth. Is that okay? So one more time, a principle is a fundamental truth, a general theory or law that spans a wide array of subjects. A principle applies to all. So it can't be a principle if it only applies to or one thing, if it's very specific. Principles are broad. Is that okay? So just because I knew I was coming to Paramount, I did some searching, and I found just randomly found this article on 6 principles for successful living, right? So the guy says, here are the 6 principles for successful living: gratitude, integrity, value, persistence, loyalty, contribution. He just randomly, I found one, and those were his 6 principles, wide viewed theories or laws, right? So let me just try it out. What if I said a principle of education? A principle is education can equal a better job. Is that fair? Yes. You agree with that? Yes. Education can lead to a better job. Yes? Or better opportunities. Yes. Is that fair? Okay, how about this? Exercise and good diet lead to heart health. Is that a fair principle? Y'all with me so far? How about this? How about talent and practice equal proficiency? If you have talent and you practice, you should become more proficient at what you're doing. Does this make sense so far? These are principles, okay? Now, so the principle then is a widely received law or theory that people generally can agree about. So, principle of sowing. Let me tell you what sowing is. Can I do that? To sow, by definition, is to plant or cover. So when something is sown, it's planted and covered. So the principle is whatever you sow, you shall reap. Now, y'all are smart. I knew that. So I did some research. I wanted to find a principle. Okay, cool. Well, y'all can't see it, but it's right there. So reaping is to receive as a consequence of one's own or other people's actions. Reaping is to receive as a consequence of one's or other people's actions. So I receive. So sowing means I receive because of either what I have done or what somebody else has done. Fair? So here it is. The principle, a fundamental truth of sowing, planting, and covering is this. Whatever you sow, you shall. Are we together? Okay. Now, watch this. I'm going to mess you up. The principle of sowing and reaping is more than biblical. It applies to Christians and non-Christians. It applies to Bible and non-Bible. So it is a widely received theory or law that is vast, and it applies in many different places. Is this making sense? Yes. So okay, you don't believe it's Bible? Okay, let me ask you this. I mean, you don't believe it's non-Bible? If you have good soil and you plant good seed, won't something grow? Water and sunshine being a part of the equation. Is that fair? Right. Deacon Beelan, you from South Carolina? Yes, sir. Y'all do some planting? Oh, yes, sir. Some sowing? Yes, sir. Good soil? Good soil. Put down some seed? Black dirt, sir. Talk good in here. You got to cover it up, which means you can't see what you planted. Over time, you water it, you fertilize it, but whatever you planted, it's gonna grow. Now, if you plant peas, do you expect cabbage? No. That's not logical. So, we're just talking about logic tonight. My first experience with this principle, I don't know nothing about this. I grew up in Florida where we have these things called Japanese plums. And I would eat them till I got sick at my grandfather's house. But my granddaddy told me, boy, you can have your own tree. I was like, well, how? He said, take some of those seeds, go to your house, put them in the dirt, you'll have a tree. What you say? Watch this. I wanted Japanese plums. So my parents helped me. I went to the backyard. We excavated a little area. I dug a hole. I put a bunch of seeds down. I covered it up, watered it. Now, I was 6 or 7. I got frustrated. Guess why? I planted what I wanted, but it wasn't coming fast enough. Y'all ain't going to help me. However, in due season, the very thing I planted grew. I grew up in Florida, so I had orange trees in my yard. I had grapefruit trees already. I didn't need those. I wanted a Japanese plum tree. So I planted seeds. I kept the weeds away. I watered it. I mean, big old pretty yellow Japanese plums. I promise y'all I'm going somewhere. The principle applied. I sowed, I took care of what I sowed, and the point of tonight's teaching is simply this. There's a question that I want to ask. Here's the question. What do you want more of? Now, many of us got stuck on the word sow Because we instantly apply sowing with what? Say it louder. Money. Right. But the principle is wide. So it's not just about money. I just told y'all I sowed seeds for a Japanese plum tree. I reaped Japanese plums. That's the principle. You can apply it wherever you want. I wanted Japanese plums. My question to you simply was, what do you want more of? Because the principle will apply to whatever it is that you want more of. Y'all follow me? Uh-huh. Here it is. You want more love? Plant more love. Y'all ain't gonna like me tonight. Because you got stuck because you thought all I was gonna talk about was your money. And I am. But not just your money. Listen, okay, again, a principle is a theory of truth. Would you expect to get love when you mean as a junkyard dog? Y'all ain't gonna help me tonight. Would you expect to receive trust when you always telling other people's business? He's so messy. You plant what you want. You don't want to be gossiped about. You close your pie hole about other people. Right? Yeah. Because you reap. Y'all talking good in here. Just logic. I asked how many of y'all were logical people. Y'all say y'all? All right. But, what do we come here for? This is, let's see what the book says. Galatians chapter 6. Galatians chapter 6. Let's start at verse 7. Galatians chapter 6. Don't you forget this question. The question of the night is, what do I want more of? Galatians chapter 6, starting at verse 7. Are you there? Galatians 6, verse 7. I'm going to go from the New Living Translation. Follow along in whatever version you may have. Don't be misled. Remember that you can't ignore God and get away with it. You will also reap what you sow. That's verse 7. Y'all there? Let's not move too fast. Paul says, don't fool yourself. Don't forget God. Listen. Don't ignore God and think you can get away with it. You will always reap what you sow. Here's the principle. You're only going to get back what you give. Does that sound like a principle? Come on, let's go to verse 8. Verse 8 says, those who live only to satisfy their own sinful desires will harvest the consequences of decay and death. But those who live to please the Spirit will harvest everlasting life from the Spirit. Now, I want to say something. I want to be very sensitive. I don't watch a lot of reality TV. I struggle with it because it really gets on my ever-loving nerves, right? But I was forced in a situation recently. I must have been at the barbershop, and they had on My 600-Pound Life. Before I go any further, let me say this. People have physical ailments, glandular issues, medication, what have you. However, I watched an individual who should not have been eating 3 Big Macs, 3 fries, and 2 large Cokes in one setting as other people had to move them from one spot to the other. This is not a judgment on anybody's physical state. But when you're in that state, eating 3 Big Macs, y'all ain't gonna talk to me. I'm not talking about how you got there. I'm saying since you're there, we're not helping the situation. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me. Listen to the text. Verse 8 says, those who live only to satisfy their own desires will harvest the consequences